Today, our topic of discussion is K nearest neighbor, which is also known as KNN algorithm. So, this KNN algorithm is a type of supervised machine learning. Now, this supervised machine learning algorithm can be used for both purpose, for classification as well as it can be used for regression, for some predictive problems. However, it is mainly used for classification predictive problems in the industry. So now today we will discuss about this. So whatever I have explained right now, we have three new terms. One is supervised machine learning, one is classification, and another one is regression. So we have to understand them in details. So basically, a supervised machine learning algorithm is one that relies on labeled input data. This term you have to understand. What do you mean by labeled input data? So first point, you make a note over here, that is supervised machine learning algorithm works on a particular data set which is labeled, and it produces an output of new unlabeled data. So basically, when any supervised machine learning algorithm starts its learning process, then it uses label data. And whenever we provide some unlabeled data, it will give us the specific outcome corresponding to this unlabeled data. Now we have to understand this term. Say we know the IRIS dataset. We worked on this. So in this IRIS dataset, we have 150 observations and we have 5 variables, right? We have 5 columns. Now it is labeled dataset because each and every 4 features, sepal length, sepal width, petal length, are labeled with corresponding species type. So whenever we have 4 attributes of 4 features and the last attribute that corresponds to the variety or species type. So since for each and every observation in the data set, the variety is mentioned, so this column is known as class column. And whenever this kind of specific class is mentioned in the data set, then it is known as labeled data set. So if you are going to work with supervised machine learning, then definitely you have to use label dataset for the training process of this algorithm. So now here the point is, we have to divide the data set into 2 parts. One is training part and another one is testing part. And we know that from this discussion, training of the algorithm will be performed by using label dataset. So what is my point? In testing dataset, we don't have this last attribute. That's why it is known as unlabeled data. So whenever you give 4 features, if your supervised learning algorithm works properly, means if it is trained properly, then it will give you the corresponding class level. So always testing will be performed on unlabeled data, means we are testing what is the quality of learning of this algorithm. So according to this discussion, training data is used for learning, or we can say that for understanding the given level data. Now, here one point you have to make a note, the size of the training data set should be larger than the size of the testing data set. Try to understand this because the purpose of the training data set to make your algorithm learn properly. So that's why the size of the training data set will be always larger. Now here I'm giving you one simple example by which you will understand the concept of supervised learning. Say imagine that your computer is a child and we are its supervisor, like parent, guardian or teacher. and we want this child or this computer to learn how a tiger will look like. So we will show several different kind of pictures of tiger, and we will show some of the pictures that will contain cat, dog, other pictures. So when we see tiger, we show that those are the pictures of the tiger, and when we see other pictures, then we will state that these are not tigers. So after doing this process several times with this child or this computer, when we show a particular picture, which is a new picture that does not belongs to this set, then it can identify this correctly most of the time. So if it is a tiger, then it will say yes, it is a tiger, or if it is not, then it will state that no, it is not a picture of the tiger. So this is how supervised learning will work. So this is training process and this is testing process. So supervised machine learning algorithms are used to solve for both classification and regression problem. And the classification problem has discrete value. Now you have to understand this point. So whenever I am talking about classification, then you have to understand it will operate on discrete value as its output. For an example, say I am just writing likes chicken on pizza. And there is another statement does not like chicken on pizza. So these are the discrete values. Why? Because there is nothing in middle ground. Either a person likes chicken on pizza or does not like. So this is the concept of discrete values, and whenever this kind of scenario occurs, then they are categorized as classification problem. And whenever I'm talking about the previous example that we are training a child by some picture, it is also a classification problem because either a picture belongs to a tiger or it is not a picture of a tiger. So it is also dealing with the discrete values. So now consider one example. Say we have two columns, age and likings. That is likes chicken on pizza. Say these are the two columns that we will have. Now we have some list of age group. If a person does not like chicken on pizza, then it will be 0. If a person likes chicken on pizza, then it will be marked as 1. So according to the age group, we can create some random data set. You can say that these are the data set with discrete values. So this is a very basic example, and we know that we have a predictor column and we have one label column. So in this data set, this is your label column, and what we are trying to predict, we are trying to predict this thing. So this is the classification. So here we have two class, 0 and 1. So this is the standard practice to represent the output of classification algorithm by this kind of values. But you have to understand one more point, that is, for an instance, we cannot apply any mathematical operations on this value, though they are integer value, because they are basically representing these terms. And if I perform addition operation on this, so it means nothing. So these values will never be used for any mathematical operations. So this is the very basic concept that you have to understand. Now let's talk about regression problem. So regression problem has a real number. So this is the basic difference between regression and classification. Real number means a number with a decimal point as its output. So for an example, we could use the data like height versus weight. So say we have a column height and weight, and accordingly we have some value like this 66.78, then weight will be 112.99, say in pound. Say if the height is 71.52, then the weight is 136.49. So similarly, here try to compare all these values are real numbers. So this is a classical problem of regression. So this is a randomly generated data set. So here we have one independent variable and we have some dependent variable. I have explained it in the previous class. What is the concept of this two? Now here my point is why we need k nearest neighbor algorithm. So here there is one concept associated with it, that is k nearest neighbor relies on the fact that the similar things are near to each other. Means k nearest neighbor algorithm assumes that the similar things exist in close proximity, because we know that we have a proverb that bird of a feather flocks together. Means we can say that whenever we have some feature which are similar to each other, they will exist on the close proximity. So this is the basic assumption by the k nearest neighbor algorithm. So now I will explain this algorithm with some specific details. That is, let's say we are given certain number of objects and each object has its own unique attribute associated with it. For an example, say you have 5 chairs, 10 beds and 15 tables, and each one of them has its own length, breadth and height. Now, if someone gives us a new object with some new attribute, here attribute means length, breadth, height, these are the associated attribute with each and every object. So if someone give us some new object with some new attribute or new dimensions and ask us to predict as to which category does this new object belongs to. So that means we are given the dimension and asked to predict if it is a chair, bed or table. Then we would have to use the k nearest neighbor algorithm to determine that. Therefore, try to understand attribute means the property of each object, and each object can be considered as category. So our job is to check how closely are the properties of the new object is related to any one of the known object. So this is the point that we are going to prove today. Now let's discuss the basic thing that we have to understand the mathematics also. So when we are given the attribute, we try and plot them on a graph. This is the point you have to remember. So say I want to use KNN algorithm, and definitely we will be having some data points. Data points means we will be having some object or observation and they have some associated features or attributes. So whenever we have those attributes, we will try to plot them on a specific graph. The graphical representation of those attributes will help us to calculate the Euclidean distance. Now you will understand one of the unique term which is associated with k nearest neighbor algorithm is Euclidean distance between the new value, means whenever a new object is coming, between the new value and the ones we already know we have. So by doing so, we can be sure as to which category does this new object belongs to, or does this new object is close to. So Euclidean distance is the distance between two points in a particular plane. By simply using the formula, we can calculate the distance between the 2 points. No matter how many attributes or how many properties you have, like height, breadth, width, weight, so on, we may have many attributes, but still we can calculate the Euclidean distance between the attributes. And now I will tell you how this calculation may occur. So basically the formula of the Euclidean distance will be the square root of Whenever we are performing this kind of calculation, it means the first term here x1 means the attribute of a particular object which is already observed. And what is the meaning of x2? X2 means the attribute which is the new attribute. Means say this object is having two attributes, height and width. And whenever a new object is coming, it is also having its height and width. So we will write x1 minus x2 whole square. The height attribute of the first object minus the height attribute of the new object. So for this purpose, no matter how many attributes we are using for defining a particular object, so by this calculation, we can easily plot them. So now try to understand. We have two categories. Say we have gender and height. So this is the data set. And so these are the male and female category. This kind of gender we have, and this is the height. So it is in centimeter. So what we will do whenever we are having our data set. So this is the artificial data set. We can take data from the repository also that I was explaining in the previous class. So now the first point is we have to plot them. Say I am plotting them in one dimensional. Say these are the marking that I am using. And now say star means female and round means male. Now if you observe the height of the male, then you will find 174. And if you plot like this, 173 is also there a male height. Female height is 168. Male is 181. Female is 170. And male is 184. And female is 171. Say here. So if you consider this plot, now say a new attribute is coming. Say a new height is coming. Say the height is 180 centimeter. Now you have to find out using K nearest neighbor algorithm, that is which kind of gender it is. So what will happen whenever this new attribute is coming? So it is 180. So now it will find out the Euclidean distance from this new feature to the existing features. So it will try to find out the Euclidean distance. And if you observe, then you will find that this height is near to the height of the gender male category. So this is how your K nearest neighbor will work. So ideally speaking, we could calculate the Euclidean distance on that graph to determine the closest height to the height of the new member. And we see that if we draw 180 centimeter in height graph, it lies closer to the male height than it is from the female height. So this is how K nearest neighbor algorithm will work. So this is the basic mathematics that we have to understand. Now there is some more point associated with it. So most often a lot of attribute is associated with this categorical object. We know that what is the definition of categorical object, and they cannot be simply drawn on 2D or on 1D plane or on a whiteboard. However, as long as you understand the functionality, so it is good to understand like in this way. Now let's say if we have 5 attributes like gender, height, weight, color, length of hair, voice, pitch. So then you simply use Euclidean distance formula to calculate the distance of the new upcoming object from the already given object. So at this point of time, how we will calculate this feature, like I was explaining, square root of say height 1 minus height 2. So this is the first feature, whole square, plus weight 1 minus weight 2 whole square, plus then the next feature, say hair color. hair color 1 minus hair color 2 whole square. So similarly, we will calculate this. So here 1 is representing already drawn data points and 2 is representing the new data point that you want to determine the category of. So this is the concept of k nearest neighbor. Say in this case, this is our dataset IRIS. See in the right side. So whenever we execute the code, so we will have the IRIS value. And now if we print this, then we will get the head IRIS, means it will print some of the top data. So these are the data set. So if you find out, so this is your IRIS data file. Now try to understand here. We have to create some random numbers for this kind of calculation or observation. Why? I will explain it to you. Now I am creating or I'm generating random number that is of 90% of the total number of the data set. So that's why it is 0.9. Now let me explain this term first. I will perform some normalization. Now what is the meaning of this normalization? So if you see this nor attribute, then you will find some specific technique. Now, what is this normalization is all about? This theory you have to understand. First, I will explain why we need normalization for performing k nearest neighbor algorithm. So here try to understand k nearest neighbor algorithm is specifically a distance based algorithm. It is based on Euclidean distance. And this kind of algorithms are affected by the scale of the variables. Consider you have an age variable, means you have tracked age of a person and income of a person, that is monthly income. So these are the two things you are tracking, and this income is in rupees and age of a person is in years. So in this case, age of a person, say it is ranging between 25 to 40, say, and income of a person is say ranging 50,000 to say 11000. So this is the range of the income. Now let's try to find out the similarity between the observation. Now you will use definitely for this purpose Euclidean distance. So here what is the problem? So we don't want our algorithm to be affected by the magnitude of these variables. So the algorithm should not be biased towards the variables with higher magnitude. So to overcome this problem, we can bring down all the variables to the same scale. And one of the most common technique to do so is the normalization, where we calculate the mean and the standard deviation of the variable. So then for each observation, we will subtract the mean and then we divide it by the standard deviation of the variable. We know this formula. So apart from this normalization, there are other method which is known as mean max scaling. So in this case, the formula will be x norm equal to x minus x mean and x max minus x mean. So this is another technique by which we can scale down our variables. So here we will use this normalization technique or mean max technique. Any technique you can use, it is up to you. So here finding normalization is very important, and from this formula you can understand what kind of normalization I am using. Here I am using mean max scaling normalization, and whatever normalization I am performing we are storing inside the NOR variable. Now here if you execute this code, means your data is now normalized. Now what we will do, we know that the first four columns of the data set are our predictors, sepal length, sepal bit, petal length, petal length. And we will perform normalization on this because predictors are very, very important, because those are the factors by which we will classify some specific species. So here, if you see, this is the normalized value we are getting. Now try to understand this concept. This is your actual data set. And after normalization, means after scaling the data set with Min Max Scaler, we are performing actual normalization and storing it in this variable. And whenever we have got this variable in this, whatever value we are having, these are the predictors value. So basically we are normalizing the predictors. Make a note over here. Whenever you know the data set, first you have to find out which columns are your predictors. Here first four columns are your predictors. Therefore, we have to apply normalization on the predictor columns only. And for normalization, you may have different approach. I have selected here the Min Max Scaler approach. So now normalization part is done. Now it is a good practice. After performing normalization, you just see the summary of your dataset. Summary of your dataset means the statistics of your dataset. So if you see here, you can find out the mean value, median value, the first quartile, third quartile. I have explained each and everything. What is the max value for each and every predictors. So try to understand. Here I am applying summary function on IRIS norm. This IRIS norm variable is holding the normalized value of the four predictors. So whatever statistics I am getting over here, these are the statistics of the four columns only. Statistics of sepal length, statistics of sepal width, petal length and petal width. Instead of writing this summary, means instead of writing this code, you can also use box plot to find out the data summary. It is up to you. So if you use box plot at this point of time, you will get better data visualization. So now come to this point. So after normalization, after finding the data summary, then the next step is, we know that we have to divide our data set into two parts, training and testing. So whenever we are executing this code, then we will get our training set and we will get our testing set if we execute this code. And in my discussion, I have explained that the training data set is used to understand the underlying features of your actual data set. So for that reason, the size of the training data set will be more than the size of the testing data set. And in a good practice, usually people will use 70% of the data as training data set. Say if we have 150 observation, 70% of 150 observations will act as a training data set and rest 30% will act as a testing data set. Or you can take 80%, 20% also. Now, consider this situation. I have explained that K nearest neighbor algorithm will work on regression problem and classification problem. But here we know that our IRIS data set is a level data set because we have our fifth column as data label, the species or the type. So here by this line, I am basically extracting the fifth column of the trained data set. That is, we are extracting the label. Also, we are extracting the level for the testing dataset by this code. Now you have to understand one more point. Whenever we are working on our language, we need some specific library for some specific purpose. So here we need to load this class library. So this package class is now used for our further observation or further execution of this algorithm. Make a note over here. Whenever we use different kinds of algorithm, we need different kinds of packages in our language. So at that point of time, we have to load all those packages by this command library and then the package name, and then it will be loaded. But for package installation, we have to install package from here. So I will show you how to install package from this, but this is for loading purpose. I'm not installing it. This class package is already installed. So now these are the basic steps that we are following. That first we have our data set, and then we have divided our data set into some random division, and then we have normalizes our predictor columns, and then we split our data set into training and testing data set, and afterwards we will extract the fifth column, which is containing the class level. So after that, we are using one package which will help us to run this KNN function, and then we are executing the KNN function. So this is KNN function. So and in this KNN function, we are using these parameters. Now, whenever you are performing any algorithm, it is better to find out its accuracy. And in this case, I'm using confusion matrix for visualizing the accuracy. And I have explained in the previous class what is the meaning of confusion matrix. In the diagonals, we will have the classified class, and in the off diagonals, we will have the misclassified class. Now, finally, whichever test values we have provided, how accurately they are classified, whenever we are going to find out the accuracy, this code, then we will find out that this is the accuracy that we have achieved. So accuracy is 86.66. So more the accuracy, better will be the assumption that whenever we are giving some new objects, then which category it is. So in this case, I am not explaining the syntax, because in the next class I will explain the syntax, but try to understand what are the steps involved in this algorithm. So first we have to understand all those steps. Then in the next class, I will explain in details each and every meaning of this syntax.